Hey all, Hibber here. So today we're doing an Agile Budyonny here, and I'm using Makarov, of course, and as inspirations I have Takao here for faster rudder, and I have a Lane Baltimore. Then I have Ingenious, full speed ahead, Velocious, steer clear, and fully packed. So a very traditional Agile build. And let's have a look at the ship here, aiming systems, and steering gears, obviously. Loadout, remember to change the spotting plane to the radar in here. Well, at least that's what I do, and I recommend you do that too. So 8-second reload, 15.3 range, all good. 40 knots and 4.7 rudder, and a maneuverability of 90. So you can see the thresholds are a little bit different here at tier 5, because at tier 7 this would not be a 90. So Budyonny is probably my favorite tier 5 cruiser after Exeter. And it's not as agile as Exeter, but it is way more accurate, and it's a Citadel machine, basically. It's also very good at HE, not spamming, but I mean HE in general. I wouldn't call it a spammer, but and then, of course, it has a radar at tier 5, which is quite unusual. And I mean, the duration is only 15 seconds. So, I mean, you have to time it correctly to get off 2 salvos when you use your radar. But at least it's a radar, and it is very, very useful. Especially at tier 5, where I don't think anyone else has a radar. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think so. And of course you still have your sonar. It's not as good as Exeter's sonar, but it's still decent. And as you can see, we are running an Agile build here, but it is a bit of a slog still. 4.7 rudder is still not amazing, even at tier 5. Exeter, in comparison, can do 3.3 seconds. Which is almost within the tier 7 Agile cruiser range at 3 seconds. So at 4.7, yeah, Budyonny has some work to do still. But at tier 5, it's still competitive because everyone else is comparatively just so slow. So actually 4.7 rudder is quite decent. You can't pull off the same stuff as you can at tier 7, but it's not bad. I also play this ship with the more offensive commander. I forget his name right now, but the one who's not Makarov. And they both work really well. Because, as I said, at tier 5, Makarov doesn't really have as much as an advantage as he does at tier 7. So at this tier here and this ship, yeah, I just pretty much go either way. I don't really have a favorite. And that's pretty much the same for almost all tier 5 cruisers and below, except for Exeter, where Tenant is my clear favorite. So I really enjoy playing Budyonny. I think it's one of the most enjoyable cruisers outside tier 7, because it's just very versatile, and with the radar it just makes it like a very versatile ship. It does have a few weak points. For example, the torpedoes are like very short ranged, but anyway, still it does have torpedoes. So I'm not complaining at all. I think it's a very solid ship, and if you haven't researched the Russian cruiser line yet, I highly recommend you do. And I think Budyonny here is the highlight of the range. Kirov perhaps as well is also good fun, but as soon as you get to the tier 6 and the tier 7, like Chapayev, and like the playstyle becomes too passive for me, and yeah, I pretty much give it a miss. Budyonny is the sweet spot in the Russian cruiser line so far, I think. And that's really a good thing, because it means you don't have to grind your way all the way to the tier 7 to get the most out of the line. Because like I said, in my opinion, Budyonny is the most fun you can have in the Russian cruiser line. Pretty much. And that even includes premiums like Ochakov and Kutuzov. Because I just don't find those ships very entertaining. and nowhere near as entertaining as Budyonny is. So we pretty much cleaned up over here at C, and we can start to move across, head over to B and then A. Because obviously, I don't know if you've been paying attention, but A cap was taken very early on by a cruiser, but then the battleships pretty much left the cruiser to die, and it got taken out by a Tennessee. And I promise you that happens a lot. Battleships not providing the backup they should. You can see them there sitting in like miles away from the cap, and it's quite frustrating. Like putting everything on the line as a cruiser, going into the cap, killing off a DD if you have to, whatever, and then capping, and then not being able to hold the cap because the battleships pretty much just run away at the first sign of the enemy. So yeah, been in that situation a million times, so nothing surprising there. So as soon as we finish off this Fuso here, we'll head over and start to see if we can't retake that A cap. And in the interest of time, I think I'll just skip through my leisurely cruise across the map, just to save you guys a little bit of boredom, I guess. And also just to point out that with an Agile build, I go almost 40 knots. So having to cross the map like this, it's not such an arduous task as it would be if you were only going 30 or 32 knots, which most cruisers do at this tier here. So all that really happens here is that I make a quick stop at B to cap, and you can see I'm getting there much faster than anybody else, and that's it. So we'll just skip that part, it's a bit boring, and then we'll move on to the more action-packed part over here when we get closer to the A cap. So this Tennessee here is just begging to be torped, but unfortunately I have A cap on my mind and I'm not really going to go in here, and on the other hand he's probably going to be dead by the time I get into torp range, because as you'll see in a minute, I pull out my torps and I realize, oh yeah, they don't even go halfway there, pretty much, as you can see. So yeah, that's a waste of time, and I wish I had about 2 kilometer longer range on these torps here on Budyonny, but I'm sure there's a good reason as to why we don't have that, but it would be nice, at least in this instance here. But anyway, the Tennessee goes down, and all the red ships have pretty much left the cap here. It's just the carrier left to defend, and we'll start to well, take our pick of the cap here, and just keeping an eye on the planes there, because of course he's going to take an unhealthy interest in me now. And as you can see, he took out that other cruiser there with a very nice AP hit, I think it was. So obviously he's no rookie, so we'll see if we can't grab this cap here anyway. We still have another cruiser with us. We did lose that guy on the left there, but still 2 versus 1 carrier should still be doable. So obviously what we want to try to avoid here is to get reset by the carrier, by either getting hit by torpedoes or bombs or whatever. So we'll just see if we can't get this cap here first, and then we'll see what we can do after. So you can see here we're both turning bow in towards the torpedo bombers here to give us the best chance of obviously dodging the torps. And obviously the carrier guy is aiming for the AOBA this time around here, so I don't really have to do much. But he did eat one, so we did get reset. But I'm kind of hoping that we can make it this time here without getting reset, because the torps are coming from behind, so they should be quite easily avoided. But unfortunately this guy turns and he actually eats a torp, and we get reset, and that means I'm going to overshoot the cap. I should have slowed down earlier, yes, my fault, but I was kind of expecting that guy to evade the torps. So obviously that means starting over on capping, and at the same time we have a carrier trying to reset me, and it's just me now, so he doesn't really have anyone else to shoot at. But as you can see, the rudder come in handy here, where we can outturn the planes and the bombs, and especially these lower tier carriers here. You really don't need very fast rudder to be able to outturn them, as you can see. It works really well. Torpedoes are more of a problem if the carrier driver, so to speak, is a really good torpedo guy, then they are more of a threat. Luckily right now it is, in quotes, just bomb planes that we have to deal with. Now this really is a symbolic resistance this carrier here is putting up, because well, the battle is pretty much won. We are ahead by 500 points or something like that, and we are 2 ships up. But of course, I guess, like, what else would he be doing? He might as well attack me. So you can see here, I actually get reset there with 5 seconds to go. I wasn't really paying attention. So back to trying to cap yet again. And like I said before, of course, rudder makes it easier to dodge, but it doesn't mean that you will dodge everything. We did it again there, so this time we'll probably have more luck and actually be able to take this cap here. So I'm trying to get my bow towards where I think the plane will be coming from next time, because I want to get ready for what I'm expecting will be torpedo bombers, and I'm right. It's always fun when you have torpedo bombers incoming, and you can see the carrier player is trying to get at your broadside, and obviously, like, you don't want that to happen, so you keep bow onto the planes, and sometimes you can go around in a circle like this for quite a while until the carrier captain just gives up, like in this instance here, and just attacks you from the front. And obviously it's much easier to avoid the torpedoes when they're coming from the front like this, especially if you slow down like I'm doing now. And well, that was also a bit of a bad drop there. Don't know if he let them go too early or what happened there, but easily avoided. And obviously we have all 3 caps now, and yeah, it's just a matter of waiting this out. So here he got me at my broadside, and we are going to eat a torp there, so I guess he got something out of it. So Agile Budyonny here with Makarov at the wheel, and perfectly good. Like, I enjoy this cruiser with Makarov, and I also enjoy it with Kuznetsov or whatever his name is. And like, really, like, both of them are very decent. And obviously, what else for a reason would there be for Makarov to be in the game if he weren't viable on any ships? So definitely on Budyonny he's worth putting on if you have him high enough level, because unlike Kuznetsov, like, he needs to be a high level for it to make any sense. Because if you play an agile builder on Budyonny and you have like an 8 or 9 second rudder, I mean, what's the point? No point at all. Put Kuznetsov on then. So that was an Agile Budyonny here, and we had an encounter with a carrier. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you out there.